If you've heard of tigons, ligers, or leopons, come off the pages of science fiction novels, but they're the result of man's daring experiments, and that's just the beginning. Today you'll not only learn about the most amazing hybrids in the animal and kingdom, but also delve into sensational stories about attempts to crossbreed humans with animals, why anyone would go to such lengths, and what surprising consequences lie behind this research. Get ready. You're in for something that will give you... You've heard of a creature that shares the power of the tiger and the grace of a lion. Meet the tigon, a unique hybrid. These unusual animals exist only in captivity because tigers and lions would never meet in the wild. So why they were created, and what lies behind this amazing genetic symbiosis. Tigons inherit the stripes of the tiger from the tiger, which can be expressed all over the body or appear as a muted pattern from lions. They inherit the physique and general silhouette of... The tigon is smaller than its parents in size. The average weight of an adult is about 330 to 400 pounds, which makes them lighter than tigers and lions. Tigons have hybrid traits not only in appearance but also in behavior. E.g., they may love water like tigers, but exhibit the pride behavior typical of lions, but their hybrid status imposes limitations. Tigon males are always sterile, and females may be capable of reproduction only in rare cases. The first tigons were bred in India in the 19th century, when researchers and wildlife collectors began experimenting with hybridization of big cats in zoos. We do not care in modern conditions. Tigons can be found only in specialized kennels or zoos that are engaged in such experiments. Leopon is a hybrid that results from the crossing of a male leopard with a lioness. This rare species is known for its unique appearance, combining elements of both parents. Leopons resemble large leopards, but with a short mane that indicates their lion origins. Their coloration is covered with the characteristic spots of leopards, but their build and head shape are closer to lions. This contrast makes them visually striking. Leopons are usually smaller than lions, but larger than leopards. Despite their attractive appearance, they cannot breed. Since males are sterile, this limits their distribution, making leopons virtually unique in the wild. The first leopons were bred in Japan in the early 20th century. One of the most famous cases dates back to the 1910th century, when the Tokyo Zoo conducted experiments to create hybrids. These experiments were aimed at investigating genetic compatibility between species. Today, leopons can only be found in rare zoos or genetic laboratories, occupying to study such hybrids. The fox is a majestic giant among felines. This hybrid combines the traits of both parents. Its only game from the lion, he gets massive size and calm character, and from the tiger characteristic stripes that can sometimes be seen on his fur. Ligers are amazing in their size. Their body length can reach 11.5 feet and weight up to 880 pounds, making them the largest members of the feline family. The first mention of ligers dates back to the 19th century. When they were bred in India, these unusual creatures quickly became a sensation and a symbol of the power of nature, backed by human experimentation. Their display at exhibitions and circuses attracted huge attention, arousing excitement and curiosity. Lion cubs have a rather calm character inherited from their lion ancestors. However, due to their huge size, they require a lot of space and constant care. Unlike tigers, which prefer lions, are more likely to gravitate toward company, which brings them closer to socializing. By the behavior of lions, unfortunately, they're impressive size. It's not just a cause for admiration, but a source of many problems. Ligers often suffer from cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and obesity. These problems are related to their genetic features and accelerated growth, which is characteristic of hybrids. In addition, breeding of ligers is impossible, as most of them are sterile today. Ligers are found only in captivity, most often in zoos or specialized centers. Their creation is controversial among scientists and animal rights activists, some of whom see the ligers as an example of the unique capabilities of genetics, while others criticize their breeding as an intervention that upsets the balance of nature. The zebroid is the result of crossbreeding between a zebra and other members of the equine family, such as the horse or donkey. These hybrids are striking with their unique stripe appearance. Zebras are often superimposed on the main body coloring, creating a spectacular and unusual pattern. Depending on the parent breeds, the stripes can be more or less pronounced, making each zebroid unique. Zebroids are especially popular in Africa, where they are used for farm work. They have outstanding stamina inherited from zebras and are less susceptible to diseases that can affect normal horses in warm climates. In addition, zebroids often display a calm temperament inherited from domestic horses, making them suitable for training. Zebroids are only found in Africa, where they are used for farm work. Heptalopa. Heptalopa is a leopard-cheetah hybrid that is a true. These unique animals are rare. In the animal kingdom, the first were bred in South Africa in the 1980s. Heptalops combine the strength and grace of the leopard. The goal of the experiments was to create animals with unique hunting abilities that could combine the agility of the cheetah and the endurance of the leopard. Life due to genetic problems and difficulty in adapting to captivity. Wow to E. Heptalopes have not exist in nature, and all experiments to create them have stopped. Grizzly bear, rare hybrid. Appearing both in the wild and in captivity, these unique animals are the result of crossbreeding between polar bear and grizzly bear, two of the largest predators on the planet. Interestingly, their habitats overlap in northern regions, especially in the face of climate change. How hold on bro, as grizzlies migrate farther north, grizzly bears share the traits of both parents. They are larger than most grizzlies and often reach the size of the polar bears. Their fur is usually a mixed color, of white and brown or cream-colored, with a noticeable gradient that varies from polar bear to polar bear. They inherited the ability to swim and adapt to cold conditions, and from grizzly bears, incredible endurance, adaptability to life on land, and aggressive nature. As a result, grizzly bears are often considered to be tougher and more dangerous than their parents. Grizzly bears are rare in the wild, but their numbers are increasing. Due to climate change, the melting of the ice is causing that polar bears are migrating south in search of food, where their habitat overlaps with grizzly bear territory. In such conditions, crossbreeding occurs, resulting in the appearance of these hybrids in captivity. Grizzly bears are created as part of experiments aimed at studying the genetics and behavior of large predators. Of grizzly bears remain an object of scientific interest. They demonstrate how climate change and migration processes can affect the genetics and populations of large species. Although such hybrids are rarely found in the wild, their study allows us to better understand ecological processes and the potential dangers faced by both parents. Of the wolfdog species is a unique wolfdog hybrid combining the wildness and strength of its wild counterpart, an ancestor with the loyalty and trainability of a domestic dog. You're teasing me. These animals have incredible intelligence, a powerful sense of smell, and stamina, which makes them ideal candidates for the working in police protection, rescue services, and even on movie sets. Wolfdogs often resemble wolves in appearance. Their sturdy build, strong paws, expressive eyes, and thick fur make them look impressive and beautiful. They're the real athletes of the animal world, able to withstand long periods of physical exertion and show a high level of concentration. Their behavior is a balance between the wildness of a wolf and the obedience of a dog that allows them to be used to perform complex tasks. But wolf dogs are not suitable for everyone. These animals require an experienced owner who can provide them with strict discipline, plenty of space for active movement and full attention if there is a lack of physical and mental exercise. Their temperament can become difficult. They show stubbornness, striving for dominance and sometimes even aggression. This makes them more like working animals than pets for inexperienced owners. Today, wolfhounds are actively used in the protection of important facilities, for search operations, and even as movie characters. Thanks to their striking looks and natural talents, this hybrid is an amazing combination of wildlife and human breeding, which requires respect for the professional approach and the ability to find a common language with them. And now, as promised, I'll tell you about the attempts to crossbreed humans with animals. One of the most controversial trends in the history of science in the 1920s, Soviet biologist Ilya Ivanovich Ivanov dared one of the most ambitious and controversial scientific experiments in history. Creation of a human-monkey hybrid experiments were conducted in Guinea, where Ivanov tried to artificially inseminate female chimpanzees with human sperm. Hope to achieve a successful conception. The purpose of this research was to study the genetic compatibility between humans and primates and to attempt to demonstrate the theory of evolution in action. Ivanov believed that creating such a hybrid could help in understanding human genetics and biology. But his experiments were unsuccessful. None of the most chimpanzees have become pregnant. Attempts to continue the research have encountered serious obstacles beyond scientific difficulties. The project was stopped due to ethical objections, growing international criticism, and lack of funding. Became the object of controversy and condemnation, for he's beginning to believe, and his work gained a reputation as one of the most radical and morally ambiguous research in the history of science. In the 2017 year, Chinese scientists conducted a unique experiment by creating an embryo with a mixture of human and pig cells. On developing methods to regenerate human organs for transplantation, Takar scientists sought to understand how cells of different biological species can interact and work together to create functional organs from hybrid cells in the future. For the experiment, human stem cells were introduced into pig embryos, with this mixture of genetic material developed only for a few weeks. To avoid long-term ethical and biological consequences, they were then destroyed as planned. Initially, these studies generated enormous interest in the scientific community, opening up new perspectives in medicine, but also raising a host of ethical questions about whether such experiments could be justified. If their goal is to save, or is it too risky a step into uncharted territory while science searches for answers? These experiments remain one of the most ambitious attempts to look into the future of regenerative medicine, a new page in the history of genetic research. Hello, guys. Scientists have been trying to introduce human DNA into cow embryos to create hybrids that could serve as a unique source of biomaterial for medicine. The main objective was to develop technology to grow organs suitable for human transplantation, which could radically reduce the shortage of donor organs. The experiments included the injection of human cells into cow embryos. At the earliest stages of their development, these hybrid embryos were stored under special conditions in laboratories and monitored to assess their viability and developmental potential. Research has shown that embryos with human DNA can develop for several weeks, but they are invariably destroyed. As soon as the first stages of organ formation began, this decision was explained by both ethical considerations and concerns about the possible consequences of continuing to develop hybrids. Skeptics have raised many questions about whether such creatures can be considered animals or humans, where the line between scientific progress and ethical standards lies. Such experiments have caused a wave of public discussion, Especially among animal rights activists and religious organizations, such experiments have caused a wave of public discussion, especially among animal rights advocates and religious organizations, who saw this as a violation of moral principles despite ethical opposition. Work on hybrid embryos has made significant advances in the understanding of human-animal cell interactions. This research has laid the groundwork for modern regenerative medicine technologies, including the creation of artificial organs and tissues, and the study of rare diseases. But how far science can go remains an open question. A border between progress and morality is a subject of constant debate. The creation of human-animal hybrids poses questions for mankind that do not have unambiguous answers as to how to determine their rights and status in society. I'm here to tell you right now, must if their intelligence inherits human traits. What if such creatures could feel emotion or realize its existence? The most important question is whether humanity has the moral right to such experiments, especially if they could give us a breakthrough in curing incurable diseases or the ability to grow organs for transplantation is a matter of great controversy, as scientific progress goes hand in hand with ethical violations. These dilemmas affect not only science, but also the fundamental foundations of moral philosophy and human rights. Are society ready to accept the creation of new forms of life? To save the existing, scientific progress is already pushing the boundaries of what is possible, but where is the boundary that we don't care about? Human-animal hybrids are not only a scientific mystery, but also a reflection of our desire for discovery and progress. Will these experiments change the future or become history? What are the risks, and what are we willing to do for new knowledge? The answers to these questions remain open. Do you want to create compelling stories about science? Join our team. Together we can tell the world about the most unusual and inspiring ideas. If you can edit, voice over, or write scripts, then you are the right person for us.